Estamos interceptando esta transmisión de música non-stop para tener a nada más y nada menos que a Robert Smith on the air. Hi, Robert Smith, are you there?
Hello, Pope Spinsy.
Hi!
I'm just in time to save everyone from some awful wolf rock music by the sound of what I just heard. Anyway, hello, yes, hello.
Hello, Robert Smith. Oh my God, how are you, man?
Yeah, I'm okay, thank you. Sorry about yesterday, but I got caught up in some family stuff and I was unable to get away from it, so my apologies. So there they are.
Well, that happens, you know, like Forrest Gump said, shit happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And where are you right now?
I'm at home for the first time in about 2 weeks. I've actually managed to get myself a night at home.
Okay.
And, so it feels wonderful to be at home talking to you.
Okay. There are a lot of people that are listening to Urbana because of a lot of places like Mexico, Peru, Argentina, Brazil, United States, and they were all waiting for you. So this will be like an international interview.
All right. I'll bear it in mind then. I should moderate my language accordingly. I thought it was just me and you chatting.
Oh, it will be that way.
Yeah, and that's how I like to think of it. It will make me feel more relaxed.
Okay, I'll be relaxed too because, you know, I have like a thrill of emotion right now. Robert Smith here, I want to introduce you to my partner, my colleague, Annabelle, which she's going to take part of the interview in one moment too.
Okay. Annabelle.
Hello, Robert.
Annabelle.
Nice to talk to you.
How are you?
It's so nice to talk to you, finally.
Yeah, and you as well.
Thank you. So
can we start it, okay?
Please, yeah.
Okay. Robert Smith, did it ever happen to you that in 3 hours show you started mixing up lyrics like, show me, show me, show me, how can I miss you, I miss you, I miss you?
Well, you see, in the old days, I could have answered that and said, how dare you? Of course I don't. But nowadays, because of the bleeding internet and space tube and everything, I have to confess that I do occasionally extemporize. That's how I'd like to put it. It's not forgetting. It's more spur of the moment making up stuff. But I'm much better than I used to be. I drink much less on stage than I used to, and as a consequence, I remember a lot more. In fact, I remember whilst I'm on stage, and I remember what I've been doing when I come off as well.
You know, the garbage people also told us that they were like, with all this year of experience, they were like better, and they feel like more this strange freedom that they didn't feel when they were younger.
Yeah, I think it's true. I think particularly with us, because of last year, we played a lot of summer festivals last year, and it was the first time in a long, long time that probably, maybe even ever, that we'd played really big shows without kind of promoting anything other than just the fact that we were there on stage playing music. And it's pretty much the same when we come to South America this time. It's just, I loved last summer. I really enjoyed myself on stage. You know, it was just good fun. And it's almost like we've gone right back to the beginning with the idea that we're just out there playing, and you either like it or you don't. And that does give you a certain amount of freedom. But I also understand that the idea that the longer you've been doing it, you do kind of feel more comfortable. Although there is a danger, I think, of becoming too comfortable, kind of pretending that you know exactly how it's going to feel. And that is something that I'm always aware of. I try and put myself mentally in a place that before we go on, that I think this is it. This is the first and the last show that I'll ever do. This is all that matters. And the whole group tries to do that every time we play, wherever it is, you know, at any time in our history. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but I always try and do that.
The philosophy of today and now.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I gotta tell you that a school teacher made me listen to The Cure when I was reading The Outsider of Albert Camus. And
he made you.
He made me, yeah, because I
invited you.
Yeah, he made me because I was like 12 years. It was like 20 years ago.
And, that's right.
And I started by listening to Killing an Arab, and he told me that there was a story behind about this Killing an Arab song, and I wanted to Robert Smith tell it to me.
Well, for me, it happened the other way round. I I was studying French at school, primarily because I had an older brother who had read me various extracts from French literature, and he was reading it in French, and I wanted to read it. He would always say, you know, a translated piece is never as good as the original. And a lot of the stuff he's reading, like, it sounds terribly pretentious, but at a young age I was really intrigued by Sartre and Camus. I just liked that idea of, like, alienation, and I felt a kind of, these were kindred spirits. I had no idea who they were or anything about them, and so I decided I would learn French, and that went through with me, and I learned French all through school, and was to the point where I was able to read all these people and the poets, you know, and Rimbaud and Verlaine and Baudelaire in their language, and I realised a strange kind of opening moment happened when I was in my early teens, that language, it wasn't about English. Language was like this thing that everybody had, and it was like used in different ways. And as part of that, I just came across L'Étranger, the book which is translated as The Outsider in English, although at the time it was translated as The Stranger, which was wrong, I think. And just the story, a very short story about someone who's attends her mother's funeral and isn't showing the right kind of emotions, doesn't feel the right kind of thing, doesn't know why he isn't feeling the right kind of thing, gets caught up in an altercation with some locals. It's set in Algeria, in like northern Africa, just to the south of France. And at the time, in fact still, there's a lot of tension between France and Algeria, and it was really that tension between the Western world and the African continent. It was kind of like the us and them thing was there. And he gets caught up in an altercation and ends up, without giving the game away, killing an Arab, and doesn't really feel, again, he doesn't feel like he thinks he should feel, and then he gets put in prison and various other things. I won't spoil the ending, but the book's about how, the book's about many things, actually. It's like, and that's probably what resonated with me, but primarily at that age, I was touched, I think, by the idea that here was someone who wasn't feeling what they thought they were supposed to feel, and that was me. I wasn't feeling the things that I thought I should be feeling at that time, and it made me realise that, you know, other people feel this not feeling right feeling too, and you know, I think from that point, although the song I think was kind of glib, what I did with it was kind of glib, it was a bit obvious, you know, the thing and everything about it was a bit sort of, you know, but I was about 15 when I first wrote it, so I forgive myself, but it was a good attempt, I think, at the time, to try to put something literary into a kind of a post-punk song. So, yeah, I mean, it's okay. It did my head in for a little while, because for a few years people just picked up on the title, and it was like killing an Arab this, killing an Arab that. Oh, you know, we had to go up against quite a few sort of skinheads used to arrive at our concerts and kind of say, you know, play killing an Arab, we want to kill some Arabs and all that, you know, and I know I'd have to stand there and explain to these sort of monkeys that, that, you know, we're talking French existentialism, please be quiet. Yeah, anyway, seems a long time ago now, but we'll probably play it when we come over. It's great fun to play. And
are you going to play that in Paraguay? The tour in Paraguay?
I think we almost certainly will now that I've talked about it. I mean, over the last few years I have been singing Killing Another, because in fact for quite a while I kind of mix it up. Sometimes I sing Killing Another, sometimes Killing Another, because I wanted to make the point, and still want to make the point, that it's essentially, it isn't really about Arabs. It has nothing. It just happens that like Algerian, you know, the indigenous Algerian people are notionally Arabic, and so if it had been set in Iceland, it would have been called, you know, Killing an Icelander. So it would have been the same song. Well, it wouldn't actually. It would have been very different. But the message, the lyrical message, is the same. It was really about the value of human life, and how that he just doesn't feel that anybody else's life has value but his own, and which is essentially like one of the things at the core of the book, which is that, you know, feeling of like isolation and just disengagement and all the things I think that thinking teenagers go through, what's kind of tritely called teenage angst. I think it's dismissed with a wave of the hand, but I mean it's kind of fundamental to a sentient being that realises it's got a finite span of life on the planet. I mean, I still suffer from that angst. I can still wake up in the morning and feel exactly the same as I did when I first read that book. So, you know, I have mixed feelings towards the song, because it's caused me an awful lot of grief down the years. But it's great fun to play, and people respond to it, and, you know, and it's a good show closer. You know, it's one of the songs that we like to end the 3.5 hours with. So maybe we'll do that in Paraguay.
Okay. Okay, wow.
Do you think I talked enough then? Fuck's sake.
Okay. Robert, so with one word, can you define the following topics?
Do I sound like somebody who's going to answer a question with one word? All right, go on.
With one word, okay, I give you 3 words.
Yeah, I'll try.
Okay. David Bowie.
One word. I have so many mixed feelings about David Bowie because of him re-emerging after all this time. It's kind of stirred up some very strong emotions that I had,
But strong emotions is a good. Strong emotions.
Yeah. I was going to say artist actually, because he does to me. He does, despite his protestations that the artist isn't that important in art. I think he's the living embodiment of the fact that his argument at its heart is wrong, because I think he is one of he's one of the great contemporary artists.
Mm-hmm. Jimi Hendrix. They all start with
Yeah, because again, it's like very mixed emotions. Because obviously, when I was very young, he was my hero. I wanted to be Jimi Hendrix. I had no idea who he was.
We can say my hero then.
Well, but the thing is though that he really, once I found stuff out, and I was kind of like, then I thought, no, that's not a hero. That's just someone who's a great guitarist and a great songwriter and a great singer. So it's not, I would say great would be the word that I'd use about Jimi Hendrix.
Okay, perfect. Rolling Stones. What's the
surprising with them, because I went to see them in 1975 in London, and I went to see them again a few months ago, and they were fucking great a few months ago. I was absolutely astonished at how good they were. Mick Jagger sang for 2 hours and ran around, and like his voice never missed a note, he never missed a beat. And Charlie Watts was sensational. I mean, he was carried to the edge of the stage at the end to say thank you, and the whole band was really tight, and they played some really great songs. They have a fantastic back catalogue, second only to Bowie, in my opinion, for that period of like classic pop rock music. So I enjoyed myself hugely, and I was really, really surprised, because I was invited to go, and I went there expecting to have to be polite about their performance, and actually I was so enthusiastic, it was almost embarrassing. It was like I was a youngster again.
Queen's Park Rangers. Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right.
Yeah, no, I've given up on Premiership football, as it's called in England. I hate English football. It's utterly boring. It's full of people who can't play football and think they're really, really good. I don't watch it. I haven't watched it for about 2 years now. I have no interest in it at all.
So
I like the lower divisions of English football. They're good fun, because the people are just, they realise they're not that good and they just deal with it.
It's like
I watch Spanish football and German football on television if I want to watch football. I think it's much more entertaining.
Mary Poole.
Gorgeous.
That was. You see how simple it is?
Easy. Yeah,
that was very easy. Yeah. Okay. Technology.
I have great ambivalence would be the word, because I feel, I think probably as with anyone, it's not the technology, it's how it's used. I mean, technology is a great thing. I'm not, I'm a very, very long way from being a Luddite, and we've embraced technology as a band and as an individual. I've kind of, we used to be early adopters. I'm not that anymore, because I realise that there's so much goes wrong with new stuff. I've still got a phone that doesn't connect to the internet. But,
like my mother.
Yeah, but I use my phone to make phone calls, and that's kind of it. But at the same time, we're coming over. We're going to be filming the trip. We've got like 3D cameras with us and stuff. So that I kind of have mixed feelings about technology. I think that social media has probably pushed me to disliking technology at the moment, because I find it kind of really fatuous. I find that people are obsessed with the announcement about what's going to be announced. It's this kind of desire to know everything before it's even happened drives me a bit mental. So I think I probably have taken a step back from technology over the last sort of 18 months or 2 years, because I'm a bit sick of how I hate the word sexy being used about technology. That just me fucking mental. It's like, technology is not sexy. It's so stupid. But it can be useful, and I like it when it's useful and it works.
Of course.
And when it doesn't work, it pisses me off.
Okay. Paraguay.
I'm intrigued as to how Paraguay will be. I mean, it's like, that's one of the things that I've tried to do in the last 18 months. I'm setting up shows for the group that to go places that we've never been before, and Paraguay is obviously on that list. So I'm looking forward to it enormously. We've got a couple of days there. I've got actually managed to fit a day off into our schedule in Paraguay, so I shall hopefully see some of the country.
Oh, yeah, please.
If you need a guide?
Yeah, if you need a guide, here are two very persons.
I think there'll probably be quite a few people willing to be our guides, won't there, on their day off. I get this feeling
I volunteer for being a guide.
Yeah, it's going to be like about 250 people doing like the conga through the middle of Asuncion.
Ian Curtis.
Inspirational, because I only played on the same stage as him once, which was in 1980, I think it might be, or 81. 1980, 81, somewhere around that time.
80, I think it was.
Yeah.
We did a thing in London at the Marquee Club called A Month of Sundays, and we picked the 4 bands that we wanted to play with us, and Joy Division were one of those bands. And I'd heard Unknown Pleasures, and obviously I'd heard what they were doing on the radio, on John Peel, and they were just fantastic. They were just like, they were the best thing I'd seen, not ever, because I'd seen Bowie and the Rolling Stones and other people, Mahavishnu Orchestra. Oh, no, that's fantastic. But they were of that generation of bands, which was my generation of bands. They were so powerful, and that was our best show that year. I think when we went on after them, we had to really, really try hard to kind of match what they did. I don't know, it's a shame with Ian Curtis. It's just a shame. It's the same like with Hendrix. It's always a shame. Same Kurt Cobain. You kind of wish that they somehow, you think if only things could have turned out different, because people that good come along far too infrequently.
Okay. Annabelle. Annabelle, he's going to ask you the question, okay?
I thought you Annabelle. I don't know her well enough yet.
Okay.
Robert, I was shocking with the idea of you playing with Joy Division. I mean, Joy Division is such a great band in music history, and you and sharing the stage with them was such a great moment, I suppose. Yeah,
it's really nice as well, because although the Cure and New Order were very much of that generation, because obviously New Order coming out of Joy Division, we're the same age and everything, but Peter Hook always had a really big problem with us. I think because our bassist Simon Gallup is just so much better looking, and he's just a better bass player, and I think Peter Hook was so jealous he could never get over it, and he stopped the rest of them from actually being friendly, because we always we bumped into him over the years. And since he's left, we've played with New Order a few times in the last summer, and it's so nice to be able to just to chat with them, to talk with them, because I've always loved New Order, and I think they're one of the best bands. They also have a fantastic back catalogue, and they like us, and it's so nice to actually be able to say to Bernard, I like your band, and he's going, yeah, I like yours as well. So it's taken an awful long time to say hello again to them, it's taken us more than 30 years. But it's good. They're another example of a band that gets better as it gets older, I think. They were fantastic last summer, and we're playing again with them this year, I think, at a couple of festivals, so I look forward to that.
So you shared the same lineup at a festival with New Order?
Yeah, they were on... in fact, I got to the first time we played with them, they were on one of the other stages, and they actually went on
this year you will play?
It was last summer. Yeah, we played I think three times last summer. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe last Saturday we have a historic moment where Damon Albarn shared a stage with Noel Gallagher. Is there the chance that we will see Robert Smith or The Cure sharing a stage in a song with New Order?
They're not there, though, are they?
Sorry?
I don't. Well, unless they parachute themselves in, it's unlikely.
Oh, okay.
Or do you do some kind of like Bernard Sumner impression? Is that what you're moving towards, like suggesting that you come on stage with a latex head on or something? Well, I'm not sure. No, it's not. It's probably unlikely.
Okay, it's unlikely. Well,
but you don't need that. Honestly, you're going to see the best show that you've ever seen in your lives when we come to Asuncion.
I'm sure of that.
No, I'm not joking though. It really is. It's the best thing that we will ever have done in the history of our group. And I've never said that before, but I'm so confident. The rehearsals have been so fantastic that I can't wait to play these shows.
I've been to The Cure concert in New York in 2008, I think it was, and it was magnificent. And it's
so much better than this. Will be so much better than that.
I can't wait. So, director Tim Pope is coming with you in this tour. What is the intention of this? Do you have to plan a live DVD?
About 2 months ago, I invited him to. We went out for a drink, and I started filming him and asking him if he'd like to make a film with us. And that was in my mind. That was the start of the film of The Cure going to South America. And so he agreed, and so he's been filming everything, like rehearsals and all the stuff that we do, everything that goes into making this happen. And then he's going to come with us and film all the shows and film fans and film backstage and film the cities and film us going out. And we're going to try and make for the first time actually a kind of something that you can sit and watch and see actually what we do, and at the same time. The show will kind of be at the heart of it, so we were hoping to take like a handful of songs from each show. That's our intention. So we just picked like the best versions of the best songs from each city that we play, and then put it all together. What he wants to do is actually he wants it to be a cinema film, because he's always got like grand delusions. And at the moment, I'm going along with it. I think if he manages to get that, it will be great. But my ambitions are slightly less. I'd like to have a DVD of it, but either way, I think it's going to be entertaining, because everyone's really excited, because it's almost we haven't had this for so many years, that we're going to so many places that we've never been before, so we really don't know what to expect. So I think it's going to be really interesting just to see what happens.
So maybe we'll have the chance of seeing Paraguay in the next The Cure DVD.
You definitely will. Yeah.
Oh yeah, clappings here and
us on our day off in Asuncion. Yeah.
So you always wrote lyrics based on your experience and on your life and on your experiences, and also you got inspiration from the books you read. Yeah. What is your main source of inspiration nowadays?
Well, I think it's a lot harder because all through my life I've written stuff. I mean, I find it still very easy to write music, but I've always found it quite difficult to write words that I think are any good. I can write words, but writing words for songs that I can sing and that I think will touch other people, which is kind of the true test of a song. That's the hardest thing I do. I find that the hardest thing I do, and I've never worried about not being able to do it, because I just think, well, as time goes by, eventually I come up with something new. I haven't written a good new song. I've written one, I think, in about the last 6 months. So the inspiration is kind of the motivation to write. Just is there. Things happen. I mean, I think on the back of what's happened to me in the last couple of days, I'm very, very confident that I'm going to write a song about it, because I've gone through quite a lot of emotional turmoil in the last 48 hours, and I'm sure at some point, probably on the plane flying over to Brazil in a couple of days, I shall have a couple of glasses of wine and start to write words about it, because that's what I've always done. I've always externalised everything that nags at me or worries me, or even things that make me laugh, and I've always just written them down. I've done it from a very young age, so sometimes, if they're good, I read them back and I think that's actually quite good, and then I try and put it into one of the pieces of music that I've written. And occasionally, like you say, I'll read something, or even I find I watch things now. I kind of see, documentaries and things, and the best song I've written in the last 6 months is actually about something that I saw in a documentary on television. So I think, inspiration it's not so much the inspiration, it's actually because I can feel tremendously inspired some weekends, in particular, and write loads and loads of stuff, and then on Monday I read it, I think that is junk, you know. But I still enjoy it. I still enjoy the process of like creating something from nothing. It's just that my quality control is quite high, because I think if I've written, you know, a couple of hundred songs already and people like a lot of them, there doesn't seem much point in just keep doing it, because if they're not as good as what I've already done, then there's not really much point in putting them out there. So although I still write songs at home, if I don't think they're as good as things that I've already done, then that's where they stay. So it's not that I'm not doing something, it's just that I don't think it's quite good enough for other people to listen to.
So you collaborated with bands such as Japanese Pop Stars and Crystal Castle in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Based on what you said, it seems like you enjoy more the idea of making just a single or to collaborate with another artist than the idea of recording a whole new album from The Cure.
Well, The Cure, in 2007, we went into the studio for almost a year, and we recorded about almost 40 songs. And 13 came out on the last album, 413 Dream. I think we released about 5 or 6 B-sides. And all the rest of the songs were just kind of like, were just left behind. And this time last year, I dusted them all off, and I'd sung a lot of them, and I was kind of listening through, and I thought, yeah, I started patching them up. And I was thinking we should probably release this, even though Paul Thompson, who was playing guitar with us for the 413 Dream album, I knew he wasn't going to be playing with us anymore. I still thought, well, it seems a shame, because these are really good songs, we should release it. But at that point, I also decided that I would like to play some summer festivals, and I wanted a guitarist, so we invited Reeves Gabrels, who was one of Bowie's guitarists, to come and play with us. And I thought it would be really horrible to invite someone to be in the band and play through the summer on the back of an album that is a different guitarist playing the new songs. And I also thought, I don't really want to play new songs at festivals. It's pretty dumb, because you walk out on stage in front of, 100,000 people, maybe 75,000 of them have never seen you before. You really don't want to start playing new songs. You want to play songs they recognise. You want to play Close to Me and Friday I'm in Love and Boys Don't Cry. So that they respond, because it's an event. This isn't your show. This is like a festival. So I thought, well, what we'll do is we'll wait until we're doing our own shows, and then we'll introduce new songs and and it's all just kind of just drifted along. And I've finished that album, that second album that we made in 2007. I've re-sung it all. I've reworked the words, and I think it's absolutely brilliant. But I'm still in the position where I think if I release it, it's going to be seen as a new Cure album. And it really isn't, because this lineup of The Cure is about to go in and record a new Cure album. You see what I mean? It's quite a weird position to be in. So I've got a new Cure album, kind of like it's downstairs at the moment. But if I release it, it will, I'm figuring out a way to just put it out there with, what I think I'm going to do is put it out there with a show that we did in Paris in 2008 that Paul was playing at, and just release it as a DVD album. So there's like a live performance, and then there's this second album, because that way it won't seem like it's a Cure, it's the next new Cure album, because what we do next with The Cure will be with Reeves, and it will be very, very different to 413 Dreams. So I don't worry about any of this. It's just, I realise that people on the internet worry quite a lot about it.
Robert,
they wonder why there's nothing new. But, eventually there'll be so much new stuff coming out that people will grow sick of new stuff, and they'll think, oh, why don't they just like killing an arrow one more time?
Robert, because we know that you have a lot of interview coming today. Can I ask you, what do you want to say to your fans over here in Paraguay? Well,
in Paraguay, I hope that they're as excited about us coming as we are about playing for them. It's it's strange, because Paraguay doesn't. I mean, you always get this weird thing when you're in a group that travels around the world. However hard you try to feel like we're an English band. I mean, apart from Reeves is now is the first American to be in the Cure, but essentially we're an English band. Like our culture is English, and our humour is English, but because we've travelled so much and we've played so many places, when we're in The Cure, we don't really feel English, and yet it's still very hard to think about somewhere new without thinking, oh, we're about to play somewhere new, and yet obviously like you live there. It isn't new. It's like you wake up there, so it's like we're the strangers, we're the ones arriving, and it's a really weird feeling, like, and I keep having to remind myself that, like, when we go there, like, we are the visitors, so we're the ones that, you know, I feel like we've been invited to Paraguay, and we have to kind of, like, you know, make our stay there worthwhile, and I'm sure we will. I think it will be,
We are sure.
I guarantee it will be the best concert in Paraguay this year.
Yeah, I have a radio program called Brit Noise, and of course we play a lot of the Cure songs, and I can assure you, here in Paraguay, there are a legion of the Cure fans, so we will feel like home.
All right, well, in that case, I shall brush up on the words, so I'm not singing "Show me, show me, show me, close to me."
You can play the weird stuff too, huh?
We're going to be playing songs from every album, and we'll be playing for at least 3.5 hours. So if anyone goes home unhappy,
Can I
then
ask
they're
you for
obviously at
one
the wrong
song?
concert.
Can I ask you for one song, Robert? I know that you don't play that a lot.
Yeah.
Cut Here?
Cut Here?
Yeah.
Good grief! I think you're the first person that's ever asked for that by
I love
name.
that song.
I don't think we've ever played that song live.
I don't think so.
Do it in
No.
Paraguay.
So it's a challenge.
Well, if you tag along on our day off, I'll try and learn it on the acoustic. How about that?
Okay, that was nice. Okay. One last thing. Can we act this scene where I call asking for Robert Smith and you pick up the phone and say, "I'm sorry, wrong number"?
Oh. How
come
long
on.
did it take you to come up with that one?
Okay, let's do it like for instance, toot, toot, toot. You should pick now. You should pick now. You should pick. Toot.
Hello?
Hello, is there, Robert Smith over there?
I'm sorry, wrong number.
Thank you, Robert Smith. Thank you very much.
Alright, thank you, and I'll see you when we get there.
Okay, yes, we will.
I
Robert
will
Smith,
be in
thank
the
you very
airport.
much.
Yeah.
Alright, good night.
Good night, Robert Smith. Thank you a lot.
Bye.
Oh my God.
Bye.
Muy bien, entonces así pasó Robert Smith, el cantante, compositor y manager de la mítica y legendaria banda The Cure aquí en Urbana 106.9. Espero que les haya sido de su agrado. Le agradecemos a toda la producción de Garcia Group, quien nos dio la posibilidad de poder entrevistarlo a Robert Smith cerca de más de 30... Y esta fue la entrevista más larga que hicimos. La de Noel Gallagher fue aproximadamente unos 25 minutos. Esta fue una de las entrevistas más largas que tuvimos, que fueron aproximadamente 37 minutos, mamá querida. Muchísimas gracias a Robert Smith, muchísimas gracias a la gente de Garcia Group, muchísimas gracias también a la gente de Brit Noise que estuvo acompañándonos a Orlando Salerno, a Anabel, Saúl, Freddy Zamudio, Rocío Bastos y yo, Pope Vinci, quien estuvo acá. Qué gusto, te sale con una sensación, ¿verdad? Después de esto.
Pope,
Porque
sí,
hace mucho
estoy
programa
mal,
con Brit Noise solamente con Saúl, dale.
Tenés una sonrisa que no entra en tu cara.
No, es que salí con una buena
te hizo la escena, Robert Smith, de Wrong Number.
Salí, qué buen viernes. Viste, Friday, I'm in love. Eso se podría decir. Muchísimas gracias a todos los que estuvieron ahí esperando con nosotros desde ayer. Así que, bueno, ya nos queda esperar hasta el 9 de abril a esta banda de Cure que va a estar tocando aquí en Asunción del Paraguay, en el Jockey Club. Nosotros continuamos con más música de la mano de Urbana 106.9. Quédate ahí.